the one time that... Good morning, Morning Oasis. I was just telling Shauna how if I cleared that message during the show, it makes me go quiet. Isn't that weird?
That's interesting. Oh, so that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's why sometimes when I touch my screen, because I'm sick of having the announcement right there saying, Morning Oasis time. Yeah, so that's what's going on there.
See,
Good morning.
I knew I wasn't crazy.
No, I do think you need to come over a little bit, though.
Do I?
But we'll see, because I'm going to pull it up here so we can also look at the comments, because that makes it so much easier than scrolling up there.
Yes.
So let's see. It is 10 o'clock. It's the 18th of May. And Shauna, I got her to stay till Thursday.
I stay till Thursday.
You know, it's funny, you guys. Good morning, Laura.
Morning.
What's so funny is that when she told me she was coming up, she said, you know, we had discussed till Wednesday, Monday through Wednesday. And then I made this meme like late at night saying that she would be coming, and I accidentally put Thursday. I just put Thursday in, and it turned out like it couldn't have gone any other way.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we still didn't accomplish everything we were supposed to accomplish.
Oh, we didn't accomplish like any of what we were supposed to accomplish.
What we had on our to-do list.
Right.
But man, have we accomplished some serious energy stuff. So.
For sure, for sure. So how are you guys? Hello, hello, hello. Beautiful. Love you guys too. Okay, so I was trying to pull it up on here so I can see
you're not
the
even
comments.
accessible to yourself.
I can't even access myself on Facebook. Isn't that hilarious? Well, they're all just like, heck no, you don't get to see it. Anyway, so we don't have anyone for card pulls, and if you have said so already, it's really hard to scroll up there. Look, there's my husband. Hi, honey. Hello. His mouth full of sauce. Oh, no, it's bread. Oh, that's better because the sauce just gets everywhere. They say hello. He's off to work, and yeah, we're about to get started. So what would you guys like to do today? Laura, card pull. I see that. Perfect. And today I'm going to pull, and Shauna will add her 2 bits. Justine and Martina. Perfect. Thank you, guys. And Martina. Awesome. Any other requests, we'll just go to tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is Q&A Friday. Michelle, I love you, and I will pull for you tomorrow morning. So tomorrow is Q&A Friday. It's the last day of the week. We have had a huge energy shift coming in over the weekend, which we already talked about. We've talked about on Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. I think both days, I think. Oh, no, Tuesday and Wednesday we talked about it. And for us, it really started the day before that. Yeah, no, Elaine, yes, you were too late. Wait, we pushed your card pull to today, didn't we? Is that what we did? I can't remember. Tell me if we did, and if we did, we'll do 4.
I think we did.
I think we did too. This is why Jessie keeps notes. Yes, Elaine, Thursday. So, Elaine, I haven't done your reading yet, and I will do that as soon as I start. Elaine. So, we'll have 4 today. Okay, so then I'll do quick announcements. Dinner with Jessie coming up on June 2nd. Chakra Workshop available. Life Mastery Series available. Sessions going on. And, gosh, that's about it, I think. Okay. Yeah, for now. We have things in the works.
Yes, we do.
Too busy to go do things that, you know, people can show up to. All right, so Elaine, let's see. The last one.
Energy, yeah. I felt it. I'm like, oh,
you could have said something.
Nah.
All right. Oh, I know one other thing I was going to tell you guys. So some of you have been around since February, and I dropped my phone in the Pacific Ocean. It was really in the harbor, but still that counts. It's definitely ocean water. So my husband awesomely got me a new phone, but I used my old OtterBox because I felt kind of guilty having to, get a whole new phone because of me dropping it. So I didn't want to order a case, but then I was like, I can't stand this OtterBox. It's so big. So this is my new phone case. Isn't it so cool? And it's got a whole silicone sleeve that goes all the way around. So I love this new phone case, and it's elephants. See the awesome elephants. Just loving the Ganesh energy right now. He's so supportive right now. It's awesome. Okay, all right. Oh, and here's the mouse if you want to do any scrolling for seeing whatever. I don't know if we can scroll. But, such a good day. It was interesting last night. Shauna and I were really talking about several different times through the day how she scrolled it because she doesn't want to see herself.
Yeah, I want to look at me.
And what she brought up is the cat's brain freeze video. Anyway, we were talking about how the meditation yesterday, it continued to come up and like almost reapply at different points as you're telling your story in different ways, right? So Shauna has 2 daughters, and some big shifts are happening in her relationship with her daughters as well as in her relationship with her mother. So that's like forward and backward, timeline work, and a lot of retelling of her story. So every time she would tell her story, it would shift a little bit more, and that energy would come back in a little bit more, and we would be like, wow, that meditation was intense. Yeah.
Intense is not the word. It was magical, really, for me. Yeah, really, really just awesome, and so much shifting for me. I can read pictures. Like, I can read pictures of people. I had no idea I could do that until yesterday.
Yeah, Shauna's been experiencing a lot of opening and flowing. One of the things that happens, and this is why I do so much like journeying, why I go stay with people, why I travel around, why I join into different groups. Hello there, Claire. Why I do that is because when you remove yourself from your home dynamic, that's awesome, Wendy. When you remove yourself from the home dynamic and you step out into some other dynamic and some other energy, it really gives you an opportunity to reflect without being in it. Yes, and then Karen, of course, came over and...
Oh, Karen is amazing. Really enjoyed Karen, her energy, and it's magical too.
Yeah. They ended up taking like maybe an hour to an hour and a half and turning it into 3.5, 4 hours of which allowed me to do all my laundry almost.
And then
I practice my guitar, watch a movie.
Absolutely shocked at what time it was. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they both, had their own experience. Yes, Elaine, you love to travel too. Okay, so your card is 43, man holding a coin. Male connection in money, health, or value. So this, let's see, I'm going to see if I'm just going to check and see, because I think this came out reversed, so I'm just going to use my compass tool, right, to feel. Yeah, it was. So I'm just going to read the reverse part of it and a bit of the upright so that it knows, so that you know. This card shows a man sitting in a lush, flowering field, holding a large, bright coin. For men, it's not for men. For women, it can beckon that a male is coming in who's going to shift your health or shift your money and really ultimately shifting your value and your placement of value in your life. It also can reveal the assistance of a financial advisor or a healer whom you already know or soon will meet. This man is helpful and may bring sage advice concerning the actions that you need to take. Be open to this person and who's showing up to support you, but always turn to your own intuitive guidance to weigh the information that you receive. This could also signify a new love interest with a wealthy man or a man from your workplace. Reversed, it reveals that you could be acting against your own best interests where money or health matters are concerned, which I get a yes to strongly. You might be spending it a bit too much, or simply not be conscious enough about what's really important. If that's the case, become more aware of your choices and priorities and bring more discipline to your life. This card reversed could also be warning about the self-absorbed or dismissive man who may be out for his own advancements, even at the cost of your own. Be conscious of the critical or demanding men around you, and always remember that you alone determine who has the real power in your life. So one of the things that I love about this card, and I'm just going to read it really quickly before we comment on what we picked up on the card, is that it comes with an affirmation. I love that about this deck. And affirmations, when we speak an affirmation, what we're doing is we are creating a sound vibration around us. And that sound vibration influences our energy field. That's the point of the tool of the voice. That's what sound healing is all about, is to tune the space around you. So words, every word has a sound. And one of the things that I have found by doing recorded work is that and having to listen to myself and being conscious and feeling, I feel the difference between when I'm aware of the sound coming out of my mouth as much as the words coming out. So I am always aware, not self-consciously so, but aware. And my voice naturally goes into a flow, and the words are flowing, and so it sounds almost musical. And that's part of why you guys feel so shifted just by hearing my sound. So that's one thing that you can do when you're wanting to start to shift yourself into a more positive way. Start to be aware of the sound, because every voice can sound beautiful. But that means it's a shifting of how you view yourself. And so many people tell me they hate to hear themselves. They hate to hear their sound. So imagine what that does. If you hate your sound, you're never going to speak in such a way that feels good and doesn't feel good to you, so it can't feel good to others. And that shifts, all of that shifts your vibration. So because I used to work in an answering service, because I was on stage, I grew up doing theater, sound has always been important. I can control how loud my voice is without actually having to sound as though I'm stressing my voice, and I can bring it down quiet. I can get harsh if I need to impact a shift, a sharp change, or I can stay calm and soothing if I need to invoke that. So this is a really important thing, I think, that can help all of you guys. If you're finding yourself in a negative space, begin to focus in on how's my sound. Sing a song. Get into using your voice in a different way, especially if you're angry or upset or hurt or disconnected. That's really a positive way to shift that. And so many of us, if you've got hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism, thyroid issues, throat cancers, then it's critical for you to start using your sound, okay? So the affirmation is, I determine my own destiny. I take financial action and am receiving wonderful assistance from those around me. I'm going to add, I live in infinite abundance. Okay? So I want everybody to just repeat it. Let's just say it together. I determine my own destiny. I take financial action and am receiving wonderful assistance from those around me. I live in infinite abundance. And what's funny is Sean and I just did this right before the show.
We're just, yeah, we did.
All right. Okay, so that is yours, Elaine. So as far as picking up off the man with the coin, which I completely forgot because we talked about all of that, do you have any other hits that you felt with this?
I don't think so, but I really, while she was talking about the voice, huge hits. I also felt like if that this is someone you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I felt like it was somebody that you already know. But the voice thing was really, yeah, it was like, thank you for saying that. Was the kind of the feeling after you said it.
Well, it was definitely needed to be said.
Absolutely.
I mean, it came through.
Right. Well, of course. Yeah. But it was just really strong.
Yeah, very strong. Mm-hmm.
So pay close attention to
Good
that.
morning, Alex. Okay, so Laura. Oh, wow. That was a big one. That even made me burp a little.
We're here.
Oh, so it's the Shadowscapes deck. Oh, yes, by the way, that was the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. I absolutely love these, really, honestly. I think
I do too.
They have great energy. So if you're one who's looking for an Oracle card, not looking for a tarot deck, I think that's a great one. And really, the cards speak so much, but the authorship is great as well.
It is. I use those a lot. Mm-hmm. They're really, anytime I want to really look at the energy specifically, those are really great.
Okay. So today I'm going to do something just a little bit different. Whenever I love to let you guys explore other techniques. Whenever I learn from other tarot readers, little tools or tips or tricks that they use, I just absolutely love it. So one of the things that this particular tarot reader taught me was after you pull a card or you're reading, doing a reading, at the very end, you look at the bottom card of the deck, the card that you cut off. And this card represents the shadow. So you got as the card that I pulled for you, the Fool. And your shadow is the Five of Pentacles. So I'm going to tell you what that means, okay? Right now, it's time for you to recognize you're in a whole new playing field. This is by the way, this is for Laura. You're in a whole new lesson set. You've actually completed something, some big growth, some big development. And now it's time to shuck off all of that and step forward in this whole new expansive lesson set. And as you step in, you can't be anything else but the Fool, right? You cannot have any prior knowledge. The Fool is not stupid. The Fool lacks context because it's just stepping into this situation. So in this card, see how she's not concerned that she's standing on this pillar. She knows that she can fly or she can walk on air or she can climb down. She's just experiencing where she is right now. She's got the fox at her feet, that inner wisdom and knowledge that brings her the security and the assurance of my footing is sure. I can flow through the forest with this inner deep knowledge, right? So this one also she's got these doves that are pulling all these strings that are around her, actually supporting her. Doves often represent angelics, especially when they're like this, right? So she's being held and supported. And the red cords are grounded energy, right? That's the root chakra. So she's grounded, even though she's up in the air almost, about to fall, right? So she's completely letting go in a complete state of allowance to be present. It's a lot of energy, Martina. You might want to ground your modem out. That really ground your modem and your computer equipment. That might help with that. And yeah, because I don't see us as being interrupted, but I'm not sure. So the shadow card is the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles represents somebody who feels like they've been cast out. They've been cast out of the family, out of the home, out of the church, the community. They feel like they're in despair. They feel like this warm inner, what's happening behind this almost shielded, lighted window is not for them. And it's not. It's not. Your practice is outside of the walls. So it's time to let go of this idea that you are bad because you're not inside, because you didn't actually get thrown out. You walked out, and you're not alone. You're just not with the community that you expect. The butterflies of transformation, right? And the butterfly goes into a cocoon alone in order to be able to transform into the fool. So this is what's happening, is you're actually using this to beat yourself up, which makes you less able to do this, which pulls you back to the past. So that's the pattern that you want to be aware of and sing yourself out of. Okay? All right. Justine. No. Yes. Yes. How are you, Justine? Let's see. The Ganesh deck. And the delivery truck has arrived. Oh my gosh. Just look at that card. I'm just going to show you guys. When I just opened up the box, this card was right on top, and so I'm just going to read it. And Justine, and then I'll pull your card, okay? Just look at this card. Priorities. And just receive the energy off of it. Allow yourself to open up to that, just for this moment, this time, to priorities. Does that feel good?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All right. Karen's like, wow.
That was just like this nice, cool tingle that just kind of...
Yes. Good to see you back, Jessie. All right. Let's see. I was actually just talking about you too, Michelle. I was talking about you with my husband this morning, right before coming down. Back opened up.
Yeah.
Priorities. God, that just shifted everything. Sorry, that was a big one.
It did for me too. It just came in like right here and then just kind of,
yeah.
And it was a nice cool feeling. Yeah.
Opening. Big opening. Wow. Okay, Justine, look at this one. Because when we put it up there, we can't see it so well once we put it up there. This is a totally different setup than what I'm used to. I'm used to my thing being over here and just being able to see both ways, and it's lighter. There's actual natural light coming in. This is against the wall in my desk with like a speaker and everything tucked in behind it. It's like tucked away. And actually what's hilarious, I just noticed right behind my iPad is a turtle shell. Isn't that funny? Good morning, Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
I see your back because I'm right behind you. All right, so here's your card. It's Determination 21. Feel secure in your being. The dynamics of this lifetime can be complicated. There really does not exist in this earthly dimension an environment that is free of trauma, blockage, and lessons. The color red is the color of the first chakra, referred to as the root or base chakra. The root chakra is associated with keeping life exciting and sustainable. It is associated with trusting, belonging, and accepting. When you feel lost or insecure, you lose energy due to the fear these feelings bring up. When the root chakra energy is in balance, you are centered, grounded, healthy, and vibrant, with unlimited physical energy. You love your body and love to use it and take care of it. You feel secure in your life and display good common sense. Work with Ganesh to create a sense of feeling rooted in your order, to lift away any heaviness you might be feeling. Focus your attention on the color red and allow yourself to feel joy, energy, and creativity coming back into your life. Red symbolizes love and happiness. It is said to encourage action and confidence and provide a sense of protection from fears and anxiety. Remain positive and open to possibilities. Doing this will strengthen the root chakra and create stabilized inner strength. So I see there's been a lot of comments.
Alex.
Oh, I see the bunny playing in the background. How is she today? Oh, well, you know, she's good.
She's not so good.
It's rough. I have her, basically, I have to see the fence that's behind me. It's a fold-up collapsible fence. So I have to open it up, and I'm basically making a U cage around her so she has a place to run. But she's not allowed to run around the house anymore. Feels kind of sad, but she didn't pee on Shauna either.
No, she has not peed on me again.
Not again.
Not again. Just the one time.
Hence the U cage.
She just wants to make sure that, you know,
you're safe.
But yeah.
And that you know you're welcome and included as part of her territory.
She was totally snuggling up to me.
Oh God, she was. She was snuggling away. So happy.
Both times.
Wow, I think that card, and frankly the other two as well, were speaking loudly and clearly to me. Thank you. Yes, and speaking to Wendy. Yeah. One of the things that I love about it, when you guys, even if the card pull isn't for you, you know, you post up there and say, that spoke to me. What that does is confirm for all of us our interconnectivity. How you're one, not alone, not the only one going through these things and experiencing these thoughts and struggles. And two, you're not crazy. You know, other people are also feeling this as well. Other people are experiencing these sensations. Other people are opening up, you know. And so this is something that helps all of us awaken more. Trust what we're getting. Trust our intuition and our feel by seeing the connection of everybody. It's beautiful. So let's see, Alex says she thought Shauna was Sandy, like her Sandy box. It's funny you say that because I need to make her a Sandy box. Okay, so isn't she? Okay, Martina. Yeah, it's the messenger. These messenger oracles have been wanting to talk a lot lately. I'm going to put away these other boxes just to kind of clear up some space because, my goodness, they are truly a great deck. Did I say what the other deck was? Yeah, so these are the Ganesh that we just read. This is the Ganesh deck by Angela Hartfield, and it's a great deck. It's called Whispers of Lord Ganesh. Okay. All of the cards from yesterday were still on top. See this one?
Love that you were different.
That's the dragon, rabbit, lion, bunny thing.
Hopefully you can see that.
Dragonfly.
So
all right. Justine, have a good day. Ganesh
Justine.
is very powerful. Yes, Claire, I agree.
You know, all of these readings have been extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. And that's one of the reasons that I love taking this time in the beginning, and I'm kind of allowing it to open up more. And I think that, I think one of the things that's also happening is so much of you guys are shifting so much the power and energy of this collective group is huge right now.
It is.
It's, and to sit in it, do you know, I'm curious, do you notice a difference sitting here experiencing the morning oasis versus at home watching?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you're all aimed here.
Exactly. Well, you're, you know, I look at you like that hub, you know, and we're all gathered around, and it's kind of magical to be sitting here in that, with all of that coming from everyone, because it is extremely powerful and it's so comfortable.
Yeah.
So comfortable. And it actually showed me that I'm not as tuned into it when I'm watching it as maybe I should be.
Yeah.
So something distracts me enough that I haven't really felt quite that power.
Mm-hmm. I think that's I love that you brought that up. Thank you. Because that's something that I really want to address. Claire says, so huge it wakes me up. Yeah, Claire, by the way, is in Australia. And so that's why when I saw her, I'm like, hi, Claire. Like, wow, you're awake? It's in the middle of the morning. Like, literally, it's 3 or 4 a.m. there for her. It's so wonderful to have you here. I have missed you. I haven't heard from you forever. And you have so much going on, and like we live on the opposite side of the planet. So, but what I was going to say is that you guys, each of you guys who come in, 3 a.m., each of you guys who come to this space with me, I know that when you first come in, it's different. You know, you're like, oh wow, this feels different. What's going on here? What is she going to do? You know, and curiosity begins to open, and that's that opening point. And it's up to you how far you open that door. And this is my service work that I do. I do this because this is what I'm here to be, is an open space, this platform that all these spokes radiate out from, like the rays of the sun, right? And I need those radiating spokes because it allows me to show up even more. And there's so much energy that flows through my strand of connection. And I say this in all humility. It took me a long time to get to a place where I could flow, allow, show up, and really be present with you guys without my own insecurities, without my own diminishing belief systems, without my lack coming into place that dims me. And the only point for me to do that is to show you how possible it is to do that, and to bring in others who are doing that. So it's this continual display of, look, we can become, we can be, we are.
We are.
Right? So that transition, that progression is to bring this forward and present as much as possible. That's why I show up here every morning. Because for me, every morning I show up, I get realigned to me. So it's as much service to me as it is service to you guys. And that's what service work is. It's a balanced give and receive always. And so as much as you want to tune in and receive from this, that is your gift to you and to me. Because I'm telling you, I feel every one of you guys. And it just opens up and makes it so special, so special. So I want to thank all of you guys, especially those of you guys who make this your daily practice whenever it's possible. I really respect that, and see how even if you're not here, you're starting to have daily practices. You are experiencing that shift. You are awakening more and more. You are coming more in alignment with your guidance and your highest of selves. And you are beginning to show all of us who you are. And it's amazing. So I had to put that out there for you guys too. Okay, so Martina's card pull.
Okay, Martina, here we go.
Okay, so this is
familiar.
This is the second time we got this. We got this pull
Be without malice.
yesterday, and it was Jesse's card. So clearly, this one is still in the air, and it's about, really honestly, it's about us releasing the parts of ourselves that feel this in any way, and I have a strong sense of that. So, I'm going to read it again, because last time Shauna read it, so we'll get it from 2 vocal tones. Yes, we are just getting started, Jesse, you're right. And Andrea says, you're welcome, and thank you for making this space for us. My pleasure. Oh, one other thing I'm going to throw out there. Shauna and I have been talking, and I think sometimes Shauna's going to start doing some stuff online. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually was thinking that I might try out reading of pictures, like maybe come on live and have people upload their pictures
As comments.
As comments, yeah, and see what we get and what it'll tell us. It'll help me practice that since that's brand new to me.
And she's really good at it. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It was, yeah, thank you, Karen.
What was hilarious was yesterday we were talking about how, before Karen even came, because for some reason, and Shauna's been to my house 2 other times.
2 or 3, yeah.
2 or 3 other times. I have never felt compelled to pull out my photo albums and show her all of my old pictures. And like, I don't do that very often. I'm not big on that. So we, so I pulled them out and she's like telling me all this information and based on the other people. And it was, and so then in the morning we were talking about, sorry.
And it was just coming out. It was like, oh, yeah, oh, that's interesting. And then I'm thinking, what am I doing? What is that? and then I'm like, oh, look at I can see the dynamic here, and I can see that this person, needs this or this person needs that. It was, and I was like, Jesse, I'm reading images. Like, oh, that is so cool. Yeah. So it was.
What she said is, I feel like I'm reading pictures like you read tarot cards.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So it was really interesting. So anyway, one of the reasons I made Shauna say all of that is so that she'd speak it.
I know she's such a wonderful teacher without pushing. Yeah, like she knew that was going on in there. Yeah. So yeah.
So what I'd like to know from you guys is, how would you like Shauna to show up? Do you think it would be good for her to do like a weekend Oasis on her own page? On Shauna Smith. If you're not friends with Shauna Smith, that's her name. You might want to do that and log in with her, or she could do it through the Healing Pathwalker group. One of the things that the group is is a different dynamic than our personal pages. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and I'd love for you guys at whatever point to comment in the field. So you could also, I also was thinking like maybe an evening Oasis or something like that. But
yeah, and my time is pretty wide open at this point. So yeah, if anybody has any suggestions or you feel moved to share,
seeing an afternoon Oasis.
Yeah, an afternoon probably would be good. Yeah. So if anybody.
So we would love to hear feedback about that. Yes, that's something else I wanted to put out there. And I forgot to write it down in my notes. Yes. So I'm glad it came up. A weekend Oasis or evening Oasis would be great. Yes, Shauna, definitely show up for that.
Yeah. And I didn't address Wendy real quick, but yeah, I'm looking forward to being back home, Wendy. So we need to get together. I would like to, hang with you for a little bit.
And take some pictures over. You might be shocked.
Right, yeah, bring some pictures over. Let's, that would be awesome.
All right, so Martina, your card was Afternoon Delight. Yeah.
We absolutely love you.
A weekend or evening Oasis. Okay, so Martina, your card was Be Without Malice. You've been hurt, disrespected, or disappointed by others. Another has let you down or betrayed you. It is normal and natural to experience feelings of anger, hurt, and disappointment. To feel any and all emotion is natural, but you have choice always in how you respond. Acknowledge it, learn from it and your experience, and let the anger, hurt, and disappointment flow until it goes. Do not allow them to inspire retaliatory acts born of malice or spite. So when we really allow ourselves to feel the emotions that are coming up that make us want to get them back, right? When we let ourselves just feel it, that doesn't mean we have to act on it. The acting on is impulse control. The emotion is warranted and valid. and following that emotion all the way through until you get to the end, which is the belief that's making you feel that way, what you're thinking. When you can feel all the way through back to what you're thinking and address the root belief, that's when you actually release that whole strand of thought and energy from your consciousness, so you don't slip back into malice the next time you experience that. It's important. There's this whole fixation that I believe is really unhealthy in the spiritual community, and that is a truly spiritual person is a happy and joyous person. That's the biggest crock of bullshit I've ever heard.
Yeah. Okay?
Right?
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Before we say too much more, because I'm going to forget, so I apologize.
Yeah, no, go
ahead. But what really jumped out of that, and I heard it 3 times in my head, was you have a choice in how you react. And so I think that's really important for you to hear. Like, really give that some thought, that you really have that choice in that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she needs to give herself permission to have that choice.
For sure.
And not just reacts with a spark.
And the other thing is that we oftentimes, when we feel angry, we feel like at the same time we're doing something bad. Yeah. And this makes me want to repeat something I've said recently, which is the definition of anger by my husband's therapist, who runs an abuse support group at a organization called Allies in Change. And I'm going to throw this out there because I know that a lot of you guys are amazing, gifted, talented people who may be in relationships with or may themselves be people who manage their anger, their frustration, their pain by managing other people. Or in relationships with narcissists, or in codependent relationships to the point where they're damaging both parties. So Allies in Change, if you're in the Pacific Northwest area, in the Portland metropolitan area, they are one of a kind. There's nothing else that in the country that's like this. There's one other organization that is now mimicking Chris's design in another country, and I believe it's Germany, but I could be wrong about that. But he's been working to try to get his program built and around, and he has been instrumental, his program, in changing my marriage and my relationship with my husband. Truly a gifted man, Chris Huffine, and Allies in Change, and continues to be a gift to our family. Anyway, he defines anger as being fear plus another emotion. So we have to recognize some part of us is afraid, and it's trying to protect itself by amplifying the other emotion. So if the other emotion is despair, then you get somebody who is that angry and wants to make everyone else suffer with them, right? So there's all these different ways that anger can be showing up. But you've got to get to that other emotion that's attached to the fear, because that's where you're going to find the belief. And if you don't let yourself feel it, then you can't start to have the discernment of what is that I'm feeling. And it just stays as anger. And we back away from it because we think we're being bad. We're not being spiritual. We're not being compassionate. Well, that's a time to be compassionate to self. And remove yourself, if you can't control your behavior, from other people, so that you can take that time to be compassionate to yourself and feel your emotions without being responsible for others' responses to your experience, right? That's all you're doing, is giving yourself permission to have time and space to feel through all that led you to that state of rage and anger and malice and retribution and vindication and all of those emotions. And this is something that all of us experience. Absolutely. So I've had many friends who struggle with anger, and they'll tell me, you don't understand what it's like. I'm like, let me tell you. I understand what it's like. Yeah. I threw like a Frisbee, a wok lid. It was a very lightweight aluminum foil wok lid across the room at my husband, and it hit him in the head. And I watched it, and I knew it was because I was so angry because his abuse level was so high. And I didn't give myself permission to just walk away when I should have, right? And that doesn't mean walk away forever. That doesn't mean that I'm done, my marriage is over. What that means is I give myself permission to not be exposed to this. And when I come back in, if it's still bad, I give myself permission to still not be exposed to this. And if all you're ever doing is walking away, well, then it's clear. So give yourself permission to step away, experience your feelings, so you use the gift that is that suffering, painful experience, instead of turning it into a suffering. Because it's the resistance to the pain that creates our suffering. It's the running of the belief unconsciously rather than consciously that creates that suffering. And recreates it and brings all the players back into play in different masks and different faces to recreate this experience over and over. So if you're somebody who's been married several times and you keep having the same kind of problem end up happening with your spouse, you have been resisting the lesson. It is not because there's just a shit ton of bad men out there. There's amazing men out there. But you're picking the ones that appear and that actually feel like they will play out the game that you need. And the minute that you don't need them to play that game out, usually the men that you are with begin to shift. My husband and I are evidence of that. Both of us shifted. The minute I stopped thinking he was the problem, and I started trying to figure out why I needed him to be a problem, that's what changed our marriage. That's what gave us both permission to be who we were, and a grounds with which to find love and appreciation and affection and gratitude. We're working on the intimacy. So all that had to be said.
It did.
Yeah.
While that was happening, well, Martina said that her left hand went numb.
Yeah.
So I was trying to sense into what that was, and I feel it was some kind of blockage from receiving, honestly. So I don't know, Martina, if it's helping, but I was just doing some clearing for you. I hope that was okay, but it's just some stuck energy and some blockage. So think about that numbness. There's something about it you need to know, but you already know. So I'm going to ask you to feel into that numbness and see what comes to you about what is blocking you. I believe it's about receiving. So kind of feel into that, hon, okay? And the energy is there with you to help clear it out, but you've got to see it and hear it. So listen into it, okay? And hopefully that numbness will clear. I have a lot of that in my right hand typically, which usually for me just means I need to send out, but it feels to me like that's you're not receiving somehow there. So I tend to repeat things, but sorry.
It's usually because they need to be.
Yeah. So hopefully that helps clear it out. If not, connect with me and message me about it. We'll look at it a little further.
The other thing is that, what I'm sensing with that Martina as well is that that's your masculine energy side. And so it's a blocking of the masculine energy flow. And so I know for myself, when my husband and I were at our worst, I was at my most imbalanced into feminine energy. And so I was not actually bringing in my own masculine energy. And what that looked like was I ended up having a lot of friends that were men. And a lot of them were even kind of effeminate men, but they're still men, and I had a lot of people approaching me to try to leave my partner. a lot of advice to leave, to move on. Everything about his behavior was giving me reason to want to move on, right? So I needed him to make it so bad for me to feel to justify and validate my own desire to move on, right? So, and that's how we unconsciously put the vibration out, and for him, he felt like I didn't want to have anything to do with him. He felt like he truly feels alone, and he feels like he can't help me. He's not part of my life. He feels separate from it. And I felt the same way, that he's not he doesn't want to be a part of my life. So we both were creating this vibration, and it was truly about our own inner children, the parts of ourselves that never really felt like our parents wanted us, that felt like we were a burden, that felt like we weren't accepted, we weren't loved, we were going to be used or abused or abandoned, right? So we were recreating that in our marriage because energetically we both were holding that vibration. And just like I said earlier, the sounds that we created around ourselves were hostile and painful and breaking, we were breaking. And when we let it break our beliefs that held us in confinement, instead of trying to break the soul of the other one, then it started to shift. And sometimes, my husband's on his own path for his healing journey, and so am I. And every time I want to try to say it's just him, it's always both of us. We're both going through a deeper understanding of ourselves. Therefore, we must readdress belief systems and patterns that we learned long ago in order to break them. Yeah, I never felt wanted. So that's all part of it, recognize that when your husband is acting out, and I know there's others of you who struggle in these relationships, but when your spouses, when your partners, when your friends, when the main people you interact with in your life start acting out against you, that is like a part of yourself ringing the doorbell saying, I never felt loved and wanted. Can you let me in now? And the minute you open up that door to see what the true belief and the feeling behind it is, and see those parts of yourself, then the other person doesn't have to stand there holding them, trying to get you to take them. And it truly does change the way the other people interact with us. And that's what the need for going within is. That's really what they mean when they say, take that experience and go in with it, instead of staying externally focused. The mirror, the external, is a beautiful gift, but bringing it to the in is what's the most important. So another thing that had to be said. Lots of things that had to be said today. I also, since we're clearly, towards the end of the show, we've got just 7 minutes left. I wanted to find out from you guys, what were your experiences as a result of of this work over this week that we've been doing about obligation relationships, about not giving yourself truly, ultimately permission to be completely empowered in who and what and how you shape your life, right? Our obligation relationships are the ones that make us have to deal with these people. So, so Karen's adding, it's definitely ongoing, Martina. I chose to stay and work within myself, and he chose to do the same. We're working together for once, and I'm an allowance. Yeah, exactly. Karen is another example, and I love that she's come forward and spoken publicly about it, so I feel like I can too a little bit, and if not, just tell me, Karen. No, I got it. Karen is another one. She had a partnership with somebody. She really loves him, feels a connection, feels like they're there for each other, wants to continue to be with this person, and had him blow the world up by revealing all these things. And she had a choice. Everybody else was saying run, But she knew in her heart, no, if I'm running away from me. And I know another one of you is in the middle of dealing with this right now as well. Actually, I think there are several, I can think of several of you. So she had, she had that choice. Do I go? Because these are some baggage bags that are ugly. I don't know. There's some crap in there. There's some toxic shit in there. There's some needles. There's like, it's rusty syringe time. Do I really want to get in there? But really, we all have that deep, dark, rusty syringe. And we will never, ever get to it if we aren't willing to look. And usually it's easier to see what's in the other person, right? It's so much easier to go, oh my God, your rusty syringe is disgusting. It's so awful. I don't want to see it anymore. It's so bad, I'm out. Nobody could love that syringe. And all you're saying is that part of yourself that you believe, not the same thing, but the part that you believe is your rusty syringe, you couldn't ever love it. Now you have carved out a deeper separation wound between you and you. And that is keeping you from the unity. That's keeping you from being in flow, being in allowance, being present. So remember, a spiritual life is not a life that is all the way up here all the time. Because if you're all the way up here, you don't know what's going on underneath. You can't see it. You're distracted. And, those people who walk around and they're all up in la la land, trust me, they crash. They crash too. I actually have watched 2 different spiritual practitioners who had big followings, big organizations, actually make that 3, crash. And they blame the other people around them until they come to the internal and recognize and reshift and readjust and readapt and go into their suffering. It's unavoidable. There's no such thing as a life that doesn't include that. So, Andrea said, it took me years to realize that my marriage was not working. I put forth all the effort to get us to help, but it would always give excuses as to why I can't work on our relationship. So, Andrea, when that happens, when it happens that way, where, and I always put this out there, you cannot stay in the relationship. This is how you know you can't stay. If the other person isn't showing up and doing the work as well. That's a whole other part of yourself too, right? The one that says, I'm not worth showing up for. So that, to take that part of ourselves back, we do have to walk away. We do have to say, I'm worth more than you. Because I can't swim if I don't have my arms. So it doesn't mean that you have to stay in the marriage or in the relationship that's dysfunctional. If the other person isn't showing up and doing the work themselves, then yes, it is time to go. What's the common theme between Karen and I's story? The other person was like, I don't want to be that person anymore either. What do I do? How do I show up differently? And yes, they're gonna fuck up. They're going to step back and they are going to be that person again at points. Because we don't unlearn behavior like that. It's layers, it's beliefs, it's patterns, it's cyclical, it's triggering. So, and so is it for you. So if the other person isn't showing up and doing their work, aren't showing up in genuine accountability and truly looking internally for what they do before they come to you and ask you to change, then it's time to walk away. That is you needing to say, I'm worth enough. I love you enough that I'm going to take you and protect you from this space, my little one who just wants to be loved. Right? That's critical. And my husband and I, the only reason we have been able to make it work, and I tell you, there were people that looked at our marriage 10 years ago and they're like, fucking run. Run. Seriously. But I felt like I've been running from me my whole life. And I can feel me in this. And I don't want to run away from her anymore. And what I knew was I wouldn't be done until I was no longer triggered by all this stuff. And when I got to the point where I'm less triggered, because I still get triggered, I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm home. I'm here. Even though I fantasize about it sometimes. Does that make me less spiritual, less present, less aware? Are you less helped because I have those struggles? Obviously not.
No.
You're more supported. So do you have to first get that shit in order before you can show up and be of service? Obviously not, or I wouldn't be sitting here right now. All of this is really important.
And it's funny because this is another aspect of us that is opposite. Our experience is very opposite. I attempted to stay with my husband some 11 years ago, but he pretended to do the work by going to a certain number of counseling sessions, but really did nothing. And it got to the point where I had to leave.
Yeah.
You know, and I just said, this is what's happening, and I'm not going to pretend anymore. We're not going to play this pretend game. I can't. I don't deserve that.
Yeah.
And I had to leave, and that was hard.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, very much like Andrea's situation. You know, I mean, you have to figure out what's really transpiring.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't tell you how many times I have said to Jesse, my hat's off to you. It's just stunning how well they grow together and how well they deal with the conflicts. So,
Which happened?
oh, of course. Well, it's a relationship, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if there's not ups and downs, then you're pretty much not existing together. So
Exactly. And, you know, and the other thing is we don't give ourselves permission to shape our marriage and our relationship to be whatever it is that we actually want it to be. We have a lot of ideas about what it's supposed to look like or how it's supposed to be or how I'm supposed to show up. So that's an important thing too, giving ourselves permission. My marriage is very different than a lot of other people's marriages. My husband and I, in many ways, live different lives. And we cohabitate in some ways. And in some ways, we are completely enmeshed in that relationship dynamic. So we give ourselves permission to actually be quite autonomous as well, which is a little different than a lot of marriages I know where it's much more enmeshed, much more immersed. And ours started that way, but that actually wasn't what was healthy for either one of us. And it was our belief that that's what love looked like that made us think that that was how we were supposed to be. And I still actually struggle with that. There's some times where I get really full of despair and feel like I'm not really loved and all of these emotions. And then I go back and I'm like, wait a minute, actually, what does love look like to him? You know, how does he tell me he loves me with his actions and with his choices and with his dedication to his own health and growth? He sees 2 separate therapists a week for the last year and 1 for the last 10 years, and does 2 hours in groups. So it's definitely been a process that he's committed to, and he does his work. You know, even when he does it half-assed, he still does it and shows up. So I do mine half-assed sometimes too, and show up in my way. So it's really important to give yourselves that permission. And I only ever advise staying in the dynamic so long as both people are doing the work. And I would never say to not if the other person isn't. And that takes love. So exactly, rewrite your life belief system. Okay, so it's 11:03. We went a little long. I love you guys. We tomorrow is Q&A Friday, and so get your questions ready. Shauna, unfortunately, is going home today.
I am going home. I'm kind of sad about that.
I
But
know.
thank you so much for having me here. And,
Oh, my pleasure.
you know, I just,
Wasn't it fun having her on?
it was fun. I had a good time. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for the allowance of me being here. I appreciate that.
Okay, love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And thank you so much for coming, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye, guys.